some people might say that what you do is energetic healing or shamanism. I mean, but how do you feel about shamanism? I mean, mostly the modern forms, but also generally, and what are the distortions that lie within this?
So as far as I know, Siddha Tantra, and I've been blessed to know some points and some depth of this science. And I would not say that it's some kind of a separate science. It's a human science of evolution, first of all. So I see that all these indigenous practices, whether it's in the Tantra tradition or shamanism, they were about deeper understanding of the world beyond the body. And the intent was to preserve the health and well-being of the tribe or village. So you can see all these practices. Voodoo also was once a spiritual science. Tantra was once and it is still a spiritual science, not that what people imply about it or think about it at the moment. All this knowledge or pieces of spiritual art got extremely corrupt. And I think that with my message, I'm trying to kind of revive the higher essence of all this, all these traditions. So ultimately, all spiritual arts and sciences were about awakening to the ultimate and understanding, first of all, the depth of illusion. So the illusion doesn't only mean that world we're living in physically, but it also means subtle illusion. So exploration of subtle realms and understanding of how our personal consciousness with its emotions and thoughts is materialized in the subtle realms. So the realms of entities and different kind of beings other than just like disembodied, let's say, but having different subtler body. And these arts were kind of employing some of these entities or some of these beings for specific purposes. But at the end, the core of the teaching of any true spiritual teaching is and should be about inner awakening and realization of the essence and the way the creation happens through the individual consciousness and through the collective. And also one's ability to understand the essence of one's evolutionary being on Earth, so that one can not only have a quality experience here, but also know how to navigate through subtler realms and eventually leave this all playground or evolutionary playground and go further with the evolution, because evolution never stops. That's my opinion. And again, true healing only happens then when your say individual consciousness is reconnected with the ultimate, with the higher consciousness. When you perceive yourself in an absorbed equanimous way, you perceive blissful wholesomeness of self, and you realize that all the other aspects of self are not you, but they are also necessary, and you start gradually realizing how to actually, in a healthy way, apply them, and how to contain your conscious power through stillness, and how to, through this connection with the root, actually enlighten your individual essence and your individual body, and how to exit. So this is the science of immortality, and I'm sure that it has been the goal of all spiritual sciences, under whichever name there would be. The problem is that the knowledge got corrupt due to lack of transmission and corruption of parampara in some lineages. The vessels were corrupt So the message, the knowledge could not be pure and self-born. And so it started being written knowledge or kind of verbal knowledge. So it's very interesting that archaeologists say that the first writing was some 5,000 years ago. It was then and there because before people need to use writing. So the corruption actually happened and dragged that necessity to, record all this knowledge in written and verbal forms. First maybe verbal and then written, because it's supposed to be only by look, only by touch, or just from birth, a natural being, when the mind is bathing in its own essence. Now the mind is constantly outwards. It's bathing in obsessions and addictions. That's what's the difference. But whether it's wrong or right, it's irrelevant, because nothing is ever wrong and nothing is ever right. So true healing, as I said, happens when there is this reconnection. So when there is inner refinement on a conscious level, the physical healing will happen. What people are playing through, this all new age misconception, hallucination, it's a different thing. It's some kind of a temporary thing. Plus people do a lot of, or are engaged in a lot of occult practices, which has nothing to do with true spiritual power. Again, it has to do with some entities. And so when other people get engaged into this sort of activities, they do not know what kind of karmic entanglements they get engaged into. That's why I'm trying not to promote any kind of healing or healing through this sort of corrupt forms of understanding healing, because it's impossible to heal anyone, first of all, unless they truly consciously feel mature to truly heal. Even if you remove some pain temporary or something else, like many healers are able to do, they themselves don't know the source of their power or their intent. Or if they do, that they realize that their power is based on their conscious intent, and yet they are not refined, and so they get corrupt and the ego gets better of them. So what kind of transmission they give is a big question, because many people give nowadays different kinds of transmission. The true transmission is only when it comes from blissful emptiness. Then it's the most potent and powerful transmission that is able to create true change and transformation. But one who receives the transmission has to be mature and has to be also kind of consciously ready for that. Because all these sciences should not be practiced, let's say, against someone's will. So there has to be natural morale. And if there is a temporary relief, you never know what you can lose on the other side. Because in this world, everything, well, Einstein already said that E equals mc square, and the energy doesn't go anywhere. It's always the same amount of energy. So when there is some kind of a temporary healing, energy healing, it's something taken from this point or this aspect and put into another. Something is taken from this consciousness and given to the other. Or some other karmic payback will be followed. So people don't understand that. They just want to experience some buzz, some energy. True spiritual Kundalini awakening is never about any buzz, about any energy. It's about deeper reconnection with the self. So those who play with energies, play with all these energy healing, truly they are not pure vessels. They don't know the science of creation through themselves. Maybe they know something in bits and pieces. So that knowledge is incomplete. And since it's incomplete, it offers to people temporary or incomplete results. True healing can only happen through inner awakening, and not only through awakening, but also through tedious process of self-refinement. When the subtle essence consciousness is refined, it will result on your body. Your body will glow, it will refine, it will rejuvenate, and it will be emanating that with which you are truly reconnected. So that's the essence of any true healing, because our human essence is to be ageless and to live as much as we want, to have this experience in the human body. But personally, we created this entanglement and illusion, and that's where we're drained. So what are we trying to heal when we go to an energy healer? Are we trying, like through normal medicines, to get some pain relief? Or we are trying to actually address the root cause? The answer is we are trying to get a relief without actually doing the background job, trying to understand how within this whole process is created, how we impose suffering on ourselves. So we go for all these pseudo theories and spiritual ideas and healings and all, because we just don't want to understand how we have created and imposed it on ourselves. All this corrupt spirituality is entertaining our victimization rather than actually healing it, because the root of all the problems is corrupt self-identity, corrupt perception of self and self-identity, which is wrapped in victimization. Now, if you want to come out of it, you have to, first of all, take responsibility and realize and admit to yourself, yes, I've created this, all this pain, all these emotions. I allowed other people's thoughts and emotions affect me, affect my body, stress me. And I am responsible. And now I'm responsible for the process of healing. And I'm going to be responsible for the fact that it's going to take time, because it took time to destroy it. It took time to create distortions. It took time to augment my body. So it's going to take time to restore it if it's not too late. That's it.